scene where he like walks in as the new manager and then he just leaves and then it cuts to Jim and he's like, so he walked in, took one look at us, drove down to Florida, and convinced Jill he needs to be the CEO. So like he took her.
And then Jim looked back at the camera and like says it again.
Yeah.
The CEO. I think he's weird as hell, but like it's so funny.
Yeah, he's one of those. I think it's just the personality that he portrayed that was great. Like, and just how kind of intense he can get. Like, one of my favorite scenes with him is when Andy calls him and says, "Hey, I have this client here or whatever," and he says, "Oh, you don't know my real name? I'm the effing lizard." I'm like,
dude, I was just about to say that. Wait, what does he say? Like, I'm the effing Lizard King or something.
Yeah, he does.
You don't even know my real name.
I will say the best for me, the best episode that I'll watch it every single time and laugh just as hard every single time is the dinner party one at Michael's house with
cringy.
Oh my god, it's so cringy, but it gets me every single time when Jan picks up the trophy and throws it at the TV and he just screams, "That's a $200 plasma screen TV you just broke." I lose it every time.
Bro, when the dinner guests like first get to the house and he's talking about it, because like, I finally broke down and bought myself a plasma screen, and then he says, I could literally just stand here and watch.
and when he has that little like nightstand thing that he bought, he's like, oh, it's either oak or a Nordic cherry, and it's just like, it looks like pieces of plywood that he like hammered together. Man, it's so perfect.
It's so good. Like, and the thing about like The Office is that like, Jordan, you can back me up on this. Everyone in Utah, I don't know if it's like around the country, but everyone in Utah watches it. Like, that's like all we watch. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a like countrywide thing, but we always make the joke here that it's on dating apps. It's like white Mormon girls think it's a personality type, you know, and their bio is like, I can quote The Office. It's like, yeah, so can everyone else.
Yeah, it's like saying, yeah, I can talk about football. Of course I can quote The Office. Like, what do I look like?
Like, even if you look on Netflix, like, you know how they have the ratings now, it's still like top 10 in the US.
Yeah.
I thought it was getting taken down from Netflix.
It is next January because NBC is coming out with their own streaming service.
Yeah.
So
thank God they took off Friends.
Oh, that's the most overrated show of all time. I know you're with me here, Mark.
I hate it.
I'm not gonna say I hate it. It has its moments, but I don't see all the allure that people go crazy over it. Like, it's a good show. Like, I think it's like, it's a good show. Like, I'm not gonna say it's a good show. It has its moments, but they're like, to me, like, Ross Geller is such an unlikable character that like I can't watch it. I can't watch too much of it.
He's so because I'm a huge Seinfeld fan too. Like,
big Seinfeld fan, absolutely.
Like, and people like, they always like try to compare it, and I'm just like stop. Like, Friends is it's not funny. Like, Ross is like, he's so annoying. Like, why do you people watch this?
Ross is probably the cringiest TV character of all time. Like, for me. Like, a couple iconic moments in the show, but for the most part, just absolutely cringy. And it's annoying. It's almost over the top.
Yeah, it's who my cringiest TV character of all time would be. That's actually a good debate. I don't even know that.
Off the top of my head, I have a couple. And to me, it's like Ross Geller, Ted Mosby from How I Met Your Mother, ultra cringy. Andy Bernard can be pretty cringy on The Office.
Early Andy Bernard, like when he first gets to Scranton.
Yeah.
You know, I love that Andy. It's when they, like, after Michael leaves and they make him the
manager.
Yeah, the manager, and they totally abandon like the 6 years of character development that they put in on him. That's when I jump off the Andy ship. But I think he's so funny at first, especially when they're in the Stanford, when they're at the Stanford branch. Oh, yeah. He cracks me up, man. He's so funny.
Yeah. I think he was a lot better as like a supporting character than a main character that he became after Michael left.
Yes.
But I do think he was a pretty good character, but he has his moments, like,
yeah.
And it's pretty tough.
I actually think those last 2 seasons would have been more successful if they allowed Andy to still be Andy as the manager. I think they tried to change him too much.
Yeah, I mean, this is the nerd in me coming out, but he was actually limited in that last season because he was between filming one of the Hangover movies and like finishing the show, so they kind of had to like slowly pull him off. But
okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Dude, one of my favorite scenes with Andy is when they're still in Stanford and they're playing Call of Duty and they're in the like Josh's office and it's Josh, Andy, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, and Jim and the saboteur.
What class are you using? Sniper rifle? What? Saboteur.
I'm gonna shoot you for real.
Dude, okay. My absolute favorite Andy Bernard scene is when he goes on a sales call with Michael, and they're sitting in that dude's office, and Michael notices the model ship desk, and it's like, oh, that's a cool boat. You go fishing, and and Andy's like,
oh
what?
Yeah.
I sniped a shark. 32-foot bayliner.
I sniped a shark
from the crow's nest of a bayliner. Oh man, that slays me.
Yeah.
Damn, Jordan, you got me. That was like a big laugh from me. Oh my gosh, that was good. Oh, I need that. I need that in these dark days.
Yeah, and then I've been on sales calls like that before, where someone says something and everyone else just kind of looks around like, okay, we're gonna move on to the next. Like, thanks for killing our vibe.
You know who's actually kind of like that? Like the season ticket office. Like they call me every year to re-up the tickets, and they try and like get to know me. I'm like, shut the hell up. I'm gonna buy the tickets. Just give me the number, man. Like.
Speaking of sports, Cali, how are you doing with the no sport?
With the you broke up for a second. What was that?
How are you handling like the no sports?
Oh, I'm going crazy. Like, it's pretty bad. I work in school, so I've been home literally this entire time, and I've pretty much been on my Xbox, and I've like created dynasties on Madden and league managers on FIFA and stuff like that. Like I'm trying to recreate it any way I can, but it's tough.
Play some Apex, man.
Yeah, man. I'm on pretty often these days, man.
Yeah, me too.
I can play pretty much any time.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to hit you up. I've mostly been teaching my older brother how to play, so I made I made a Smurf account, and we're pushing through the early levels with him, helping him get used to the game and stuff. But I'll have to patch you in with us sometimes. We can squad up.
Yeah, man. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty lately, so a lot of Warzone going on.
All right,
I only play sports games. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Oh, dude.
That's a shame.
Yeah, we're talking about Apex Legends. It's just like a shooter, but it's good stuff.
I tried playing Red Dead Redemption the other day.
Oh, fantastic game.
I didn't know what to do. I just rode around on my horse for hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. It's a fun game, man. I beat that one a couple times too. That's a good one.
I need to expand my video game and my movie game throughout this time because maybe this is a good thing that we're being quarantined.
I actually loved one up for Gabby because I have an Xbox 360 and I had NCAA 14, and he was so desperate that I kind of just took it to him, and he has that now, so he's building his dynasties, and I'm just being a good big brother in that regard. So
speaking of which, would you text your brother and tell him to hop on here? I haven't heard back from him.
Absolutely.
Darn it, Gabby.
I know.
I'm texting him, hop on, we're waiting for you.
Yeah.
Oh, so something that I've also done in my boredom involving sports. I put in one of the questions you asked were you asked questions we could talk about. What actors would play the Miami Hurricane coaches in a movie?
Okay, what do you got?
Brother, it took me 2 days, but I got it. Okay, so let me preface this by saying that I don't have any of the GAs. I don't have any of the assistant strength coaches. I just have pretty much the ones that are pretty commonly known and all the position coaches and stuff. But it's tough to get the kind of doppelganger every time. So I'm just plugging in guys that I think we can make look like some of these guys and kind of fit the personality and would be great in their parts. So Manny Diaz, first guy, I got Pedro Pascal, Mandalorian
Okay, I like
guy.
that.
No, and he's in Narcos too. Okay, Rhett Lashley, I got Bill Burr.
Ooh, I've recently started listening to his podcast and I love him.
Oh, dude, Bill Burr's the greatest.
He's hilarious. Ugh, yeah, he's good.
Yeah. So I got Pedro Pascal for Manny Diaz, Bill Burr for Rhett Lashley. Also, his stand-up is fantastic. For Blake Baker, I got Jeremy Piven.
Okay.
The guy who played Ari.
Yeah, the guy who played Ari Gold on Entourage.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah. D-line for Todd Stroud, I got Greg German. He's the blonde team manager in Talladega Nights.
Oh, okay.
I pulled him up. Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah. All right. For safeties, for Ephraim Banda, I got Michael Pena. I thought that was spot on.
Yep.
Jonathan Packey, I got Cam Giganet, the blonde dude from Never Back Down, the UFC movie or whatever.
Okay.
That's a good one. Let's see. Stephen Field, I got Goldberg, the wrestler. Eric Hickson, I got Guys Charles. That's Smash Williams from Friday Night Lights.
Okay, I love that.
All right, Garen Justice, I got Alan Tudyk, the guy that plays the guy that pretends to be a pirate on Dodgeball.
Yep. Yeah.
Rob Likens, I got Andy Buckley, who pretends to be who is David Wallace.
Okay. Yeah.
This second half is the part that got a little tough for me. So Mike Rumpf, I got Dule Hill, from Psych.
Yep.
And David Feely, I got James Roday, also from Psych. George Baez, I got Valente Rodriguez, the guy from the George Lopez show.
I'm just blown away that this is incredible.
Yeah, I'm gonna add in your brother real quick. He's ready, but keep going.
All right. DeMarcus Van Dyke, I got Anthony Mackie. The guy he's in 8 Mile Empire, a couple of those type of shows.
Okay, I know you're talking about.
And David Cooney, I got Mahershala Ali.
Yo.
Hi, Gabby.
What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, guys?
We're just chilling. How you doing, brother?
Chilling, bro. Playing a lot of NCAA.
You're welcome.
So
we played wiffle ball too.
When you first mentioned thinking of coaches and who would play them as actors, the first thing that popped into my head, and I've been laughing to myself ever since, is you know who Peter Boyle is? He's the dad on Everybody Loves Raymond, the old guy. I just pictured him as Larry Coker, and I've been laughing to myself ever since.
Oh, that's actually a great one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, freaking Gabby, I mean, we already talked about The Office, man, and we missed your input.
Oh yeah, man. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, I was ready for some Office talk.
You're good, brother. You're good. I asked your brother this, but who do you hate the most in that show?
Who do I hate the most in that show?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Packer was super annoying. I'm not the biggest fan of Packer.
Yeah.
I'm indifferent on him. I think he's funny for the first 20 seconds he's in, and then it just gets repetitive.
No, I just feel like his and he's just so spotty in the show. I feel like his character's pretty useless. I'm not a fan. I love everybody else. I can't say I hate him. I don't like Gabe. I'm not a fan of Gabe. I know that.
Oh, I like Gabe.
Oh no,
I don't like.
It's the worst.
No, Gabe sucks.
I like Gabe.
Oh, he's so gross.
The thing is
he just looks weird. Like I wouldn't like him in any role. I just think he's a strange looking dude.
Everybody in their life has a Gabe Lewis. You either work with him, you go to school with him. Everyone in their life has a Gabe Lewis.
That's
I
kind
like
of
it
true.
a lot more when I rewatched it because I love his character on Silicon Valley. Like that.
Oh yeah.
So hilarious to me now because of how funny he is on Silicon Valley. That second time through, I like Gabe a lot more.
The funniest line that he has is when they're in Tallahassee and Packer pukes on him and he says they don't make these jeans and boot cut anymore.
Oh yeah.
Bro, it's so funny. How are you doing with no sports, Gabby?
Bro, honestly, like if I'm being completely honest, it sucks, but like I don't know. I feel like